Hello everyone, I'm Hunter Foltz with Red Leaf Pursuit Outdoors. Welcome to the show. This December we headed down to Alabama for a whitetail hunt, and it was my first out-of-state deer hunt. Sweet home Alabama. We arrived on December 12th and it took us about 13 hours to get down there. We wasted no time unpacking and then we headed to the stand just before 4 o'clock. We got into this spot that they called the Little Pond. It was a shooting house, and behind me there was a man-made pond with a green field that wrapped all the way around it, and then in front of me there was another green field that expanded about 80 yards in front of me, and it was kind of secluded by a big hill with some weeds on it, and it was a great little spot. So we hadn't been sitting there long, and 4 does come in and they start feeding around, and then by the time I got my camera on and got everything rolling and tried to get the gun up, they had scampered off, but there was 1 doe left, and she was not as lucky as the other ones. I had gotten everything settled in and I pulled the trigger and I saw some hair, and that's all I saw. She didn't drop, she just bolted off to where she came from. So me, not knowing if I had hit her or not, I went out, I found hair right away, like I said I could see, and then I found a couple specks of blood, so I got back up in the blind, I reran the footage, and it looked like a lethal hit. We ended up and we tracked her about 70 yards in the woods, and there she was, laying there. It was an awesome experience. My first out-of-state whitetail kill came in Alabama. And it happened that night that Grandpa also tagged out on a doe, so we did a double on our first night in. So this brings us to the 4th day. On December 15th, I went to a new blind that they had just moved there this year. And it was a really secluded green field in the middle of this big pine grove. And there was you couldn't see from the road to it. You had to go back a little winding road. And it was a great spot for deer movement. They could move in there during the day and they could be covered up as much as they wanted to be when they were transitioning from the food to their beds. So I got in there in the morning, and it was a dense fog advisory that morning, so we didn't even know if we were going to get to go out. So it was a little bit hazy and it took a while for the sun to come up, but when the sun come up it got interesting really quickly. Just dropped him with the 350 Legend. Awesome. Oh, that happened so fast. I was sitting here playing a word game, and I looked out and there's a deer feeding, and I saw it was a buck. Just a little spiker. But it's still awesome. Well guys, December 15th, it's our 4th day here in Alabama. It's only about 20 after 7 this morning, and it was a successful morning. This little buck came out, it wasn't even just before 7 o'clock, and it was quick. He came out at like 55 yards, and I was looking down, and I look up and he's there in my window. I'm like, crap, he's gonna get past me. So luckily I got everything on and everything steady, and he stopped to eat right at the edge of the field and gave me a shot. And I hit him in the spine, I think, and it dropped him. And this is where it gets funny. I dropped him, and he's lays there for 5 minutes, doesn't do anything. Well, he gets up and takes off, and I'm still in the blind getting my stuff out, and my gun won't eject the shell, so I yank on it. Finally, it ejects the shell, and he's at the back of the field. So I shoot again, and he goes into the pines and falls over, and then I come up here, run up here with the gun, and he's still standing there. So I gave him one more just to make sure, but because we don't want these animals to suffer, we want it to be clean and quick. But what a morning it's been. We didn't even know if we were going to get to go out. There was a dense fog advisory, and we were just going to stay in bed, but I'm really glad I didn't, because I got my second Alabama deer on the ground for the week, first buck on the ground in camp. I couldn't be happier. I'm using my Savage 350 Legend today instead of the 243 that I used on my doe, and this is the first year I've taken with it, and it performed very well. I mean, dropped it on the first shot. We had a little issue, but couldn't be happier. So on the 5th day, I went back to the new spot where I had hunted in the evening, and the deer just weren't cooperating that day, and nobody really saw anything exciting that day. It was kind of a crappy day, and the deer weren't moving. So our 6th and final day arrives. I am after one more deer. I want to get one more deer on the ground before I go home, and I headed back to the old reliable spot, the little pond. Guys, it's December the 17th. It's about 3:15. We're in earlier than we have been this whole week here in Alabama. This will be our 6th day here. I think it's our last day. We're not sure. We're either going to go home tomorrow or the next day. So we might hunt tomorrow too. I don't know. But we've really enjoyed this trip. We got 2 on the ground. Grandpa's got 1 on the ground and a bobcat, and then the other guy in camp, they've always got 1 on the ground too. So it's been successful. It's been a good week. But we're looking for 1 more. We'd love to go home with 1 more deer. So hopefully we can make it happen tonight. I got a deer right here across the pond. I gotta get turned around. Guys, I just smoked her. I couldn't get the camera on her. She came out down on the wrong side. And the angle that I had to shoot at, I couldn't get the video camera on her. And because I had to get over to shoot so the camera would line up right. But I just smoked her. Thank God for the Tacticam, or I won't have footage of this one. But that Tacticam's on the front of that gun, and I think it might have just saved my hunt. That's the first time I've used it, and I think I just saved myself big time, because I would not have gotten any footage if it wasn't for that Tacticam, because this video camera was not lined up at all. But I just freaking wrecked her, and she fell right over. Awesome. I'm shaking. Oh, that's so awesome. Guys, December 17th, our last day in Alabama, and I couldn't be happier. I got it done on this doe. She ain't very big, but she came out at last light across the pond, actually, from where I shot my first doe. I'm in the same spot. She came out on this side, so I tried to adjust. I got adjusted, but I couldn't get the camera on her. And thank God I had the Tacticam on the end of my gun, or I would not have gotten the footage of this hunt. But
I did. I'm glad I put it on for the last hunt, and it paid off because I could not get my main camera on her. So I have to check and see what that footage looks like, but I'm thinking it's going to be good. That Tacticam does pretty well, even though she came out at about 100 yards. But awesome hunt, awesome week here in Alabama, and I couldn't be happier. First out-of-state hunt, first out-of-state deer, first deer with a rifle this week. We got 3 of them on the ground in about 6 days, so it's been awesome. Awesome people down here, really kind people, really made us feel at home, and I cannot wait to come back next year. We're gonna head back to Ohio here, and hopefully we can get one of our target bucks either drop tine or stickers on the ground. But it's been awesome to have some trigger time down here, and I can't wait to come back. It's been a really awesome week.
If you are not running a Tacticam on your gun or bow, you need to, because they can save your hunt, period. It may not be the greatest footage on mine because it was so close to dark, but I got some of the coolest footage out of it because you can actually see the fire coming out of the end of the gun barrel. And then you could just see the white and she tips over. It was about a 95-yard shot, and I had 5 minutes left in the day. So by all those factors, it did extremely wonderful, and it's probably my favorite piece of footage out of this whole trip. It was an awesome trip to Alabama. It was so much fun with Grandpa and Leroy, and Grandpa actually tagged an awesome bobcat the one evening. He said it came out about 70 yards, and he put the hurtin' on it with his Savage 270. We took all Savage guns down. I took the Savage 243 and harvested my 2 does with it, and then I had recently got a Savage 350 Legend that I put to work on my buck, and it was awesome. They all performed beautifully. I couldn't have asked for a better rifle, and you need to check them out because they are definitely the best shooting rifles that I've ever shot. We had an awesome time in Alabama, and we thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. If you guys have never whitetail hunted Alabama, I highly suggest you take the time to do it. There's so many deer down there, so many coyotes, bobcats that you can shoot, and it's just a blast. You sit up on these green fields, and they just come out of the swamps. It's a really neat experience, and I'm really glad I got to experience it with my grandpa. So thank you for watching this episode of Red Leaf Pursuit Outdoors, and stay tuned for more. No, we didn't forget the part where I was scared to get out of the tree stand when there was a pack of coyotes right beside me. Okay, I'll be honest. I may have been a little concerned about the coyote situation, but they are everywhere down there, and they are thick in those swamps. And it is quite an eerie feeling when you hear that right at dark, less than 100 yards from your blind. Thanks for watching. Please take some time to subscribe and follow us on all of our social media platforms for the latest content.